Hey guys, here we are at 11th part of the story. Weakened to their breaking point, the allied shinobi forces have little chance of survival. The Jubi had fired a colossal Baijudama in their direction. The former Hokage are too busy trying to save them to focus on Kurama and the rest of the Biju's final plan of action. We will see as Naruto and Sakura go back in time to prevent disaster. Don't forget to hit the like button and subscribe button. Now, let's jump right in. This Ketsueki Bunshin will be your trainer until I return from my errand in Oni no Kuni. Is that understood? Naruto called out like a drill sergeant, causing all of the ninchu students to call out in unison. Hi! Nodding to himself, Naruto said, until the Chunin exams, all nominated Jonin will be training to perfect their ninchu enough to cause trouble for most rookie Jonin, if not outright defeat them. That's the level of skills I expect to be showcased by the Konoha Jonin I am teaching. Hi! All the Jonin of Teams 7, 8, 9 and 10 called out, with his own and Sakura's replacements being Sai and Konohamaru. The Chunin, Jonin, and Anbu, your job is to master as much as you can. Then specialize in the specialized bending disciplines that I, Sakura and Konohamaru have discovered. Any questions? Seeing that no questions were forthcoming, Naruto continued, after you have mastered your elements, your job will be to teach the ninchu classes at the academy on a part-time basis. Understood? Hi. Good. Now an assessment of skills for the Jonin. As I call your name, step forward. Uchiha Sasuke. Sasuke stepped forward with a nervous frown, causing Naruto to chuckle and say, your skills are satisfactory, Sasuke, at the moment, but I advise that you start practicing lightning generation and, if possible, redirection. I would like you to see if you can develop skills in combustion bending, but that is not as important as lightning generation. Other than that, I would say that you practice mixing and fire bending with your taijutsu. Sai. Sasuke nodded and stepped back into line as Sai moved forward. Your basic skills are top-notch. Your ink-based ninjutsu is unique and powerful, but I believe that combining it with your budding skills in water bending would be a strong asset. Please try it and get back to me. Sarutobi Konohamaru. Konohamaru took Sai's place with a nervous smile. You need more active experience. To remedy that, I assign you to regular spars with the Jonin, Anbu and Chunin present here. Other than that, I would advise that you keep practicing your newly discovered combustion bending, but only while under the supervision of an experienced shinobi or by clone. Other than that, keep up the good work. Hyuga Hinata. Hinata stepped forward with a small smile as she waited for her review. You have come a long way from the shy girl I started training. Your skills in that modified Juken has skyrocketed along with your mastery of water bending. Your unique use of water bending as an extension of yourself is quite interesting, and I would advise that you advance it more. Your fluidity in bending water into ice is lacking a bit, so you should practice a bit more. Other than that, keep up the good work. Aburame Shino. Shino stepped up with a slight buzzing emanating from his jacket. You're good, Shino. There is no doubt about it, but unfortunately, your element is the exact opposite of what would have augmented your Kikaku. Even then, you have found the time and place to develop a style of fire bending where you strengthen your physical capabilities with fire. An excellent style, but the lack of range will be debilitating in the long run. My advice is that you start learning to generate lightning. Other than that, keep thinking of other ways to complement your clan jutsu. Inuzuka Kiba. Kiba and Akamaru jumped forward with a little whoop, causing Naruto to smile and say, what can I say, Akamaru? Your master is pathetic at the moment. He has already adequately mastered both air and fire bending, yet he doesn't use them to augment his clan techniques. I am sure that you have told him such ideas, but he ignored you. For that, I am sorry. Make sure that he develops a style to increase the potency of his clan jutsu, will you, buddy? Kiba gaped at Naruto, who was ignoring him in favor of scratching Akamaru under the chin. The little dog let out a small yip that caused Kiba to gape even farther before staring at the small white puppy with a look of betrayal. Alright, Akamaru. I will hold you to your word. Hyuga Neji. Neji walked forward with a stoic expression, but if anyone looked carefully enough, they would notice the hint of unease Neji felt. You are a prodigy. That's what everyone says. I deny it. You are a fool, and a prideful one at that. You believe that your Juken will be enough and are only learning earthbending since your clan head wishes you to. Pick up your axe soon, Neji, or I will have to cut you from the program. You have the offensive power. Now develop the defensive power that Earth is associated with. Now, get out of my sight. Higurashi Tenten. Neji rushed to hide behind his sensei guy while Tenten walked up with a cheerful grin. How is the metal bending coming along? Well enough, though I find that you can't bend platinum. Other than that, I am now absolutely positive that futon isn't my worst enemy any longer, Tenten said with bright eyes. Naruto nodded, keep up the good work Tenten. If only all my students were like you. Rock Lee. Tenten stepped back with a pleased expression on her face while Lee rushed forward with an excited one. Rock Lee. A shinobi with no aptitude for ninjutsu but a monstrous aptitude for taijutsu. A Goken master in the making and a master of the drunken fist. For someone so young, you are very well polished. Like your aptitude for taijutsu, you have a similar affinity with your bending element, air. To tell you the truth, I have very little left to teach you about the air element. The rest comes with self-enlightenment and understanding of the very existence of air. Achieve that, and I will give you the rank of Grand Master Airbender. The same rank I am in airbending. Keep up the good work Lee. Akimichi Choji. Choji lumbered forward while munching on a pack of chips and waited for Naruto to speak. You have a great deal more to learn about the earth element, but you have adequate skills in bending the element to your will that it allows you to easily complement your clan taijutsu style and jutsu. I advise spending more time in mastering basic earth bending before trying to master either metal, lava or crystal bending. Keep up the good work Choji. Nara Shikamaru. Shikamaru lazily walked forward only jumped back in shock as a pillar of earth tried to strike out at him. Oi! What's the big idea? Simple. I wanted to see if you could be motivated more. Now that I see it is possible, I have a new training regime for you. Since you were too lazy to master water bending to an appreciable degree, I have decided to personally tutor you. Isn't that a great thing Shika? We are going to have so much fun together, Naruto said with a sweet smile that caused a shiver to run down Shikamaru's spine while Anko just grinned in glee. Anyway, Yamanaka Ino. Ino walked forward with her head held high. Her dress had changed a lot under the influence of Anko and now consisted of a purple miniskirt that revealed her milky smooth legs, a skin-fit purple crop top that accentuated her developing curves and visible fishnet blouse and short shorts underneath her top and skirt. Fishnet armor around her elbows and knees and a purple trench coat with fishnet armor weaved into it. Naruto looked over Ino's new wardrobe before giving an approving nod and commenting, "You have been spending too much time with Anko. Anyway, your skills with airbending is at the same level Lee's are, but you have the more esoteric astral projection and telekinesis under your belt. Something that most don't have the mental disposition to have. Lee, in time will reach the disposition to use astral projection and I hope that it will be soon. On the other hand, he will never be able to develop telekinesis as his mind isn't of the right disposition. Anyway, keep up your training and please try not to deconstruct Konoha with your telekinesis, Ino. Your spirit illusions are quite frightening as well. Keep up the good work." Ino nodded with a satisfied smile as she stepped back into line. Naruto turned to the gathered shinobi and kunoichi and said, "I am proud of you all, especially the Jonin. You have all come a long way in a very short time. For the Chunin, keep practicing. You have nearly mastered the intermediate techniques. The Jonin and Anbu, you are near mastering the advanced ones. Keep up the good work and try not to showcase your skills to the foreigners yet." Dismissed. With a chorus of acknowledgement, the group dispersed into thin air with Naruto not far behind. A middle-aged woman wearing expensive silk robes of a miko was sitting in her private Zen garden, meditating. A small smile was gracing the woman's face as she meditated. Suddenly the eyes opened and the woman rose with near supernatural grace, as she turned to the shoji door and walked into the castle. As soon as she entered the castle proper, she ran into his advisor. "Miraku-sama, good morning. Shall I have your tea delivered to your private dining room? Also, she and Haim should be up soon." Miraku nodded in greeting before commenting, "That would be lovely. Also, an important messenger will soon arrive. Make sure that he isn't delayed. His reputation precedes him, but I must meet with him immediately. If any of the samurai protest, tell them that their service is no longer required. I shall not accept any insult towards our guest or his master." The advisor, an old man, looked startled but nodded in understanding while thinking who is this messenger and his master that Miraku-sama would be so interested in their arrival. Bowing low, the advisor rushed to let the samurai captain know about Miraku's orders as Miraku simply walked towards her private dining room. "Wow! That's one grand palace," Zabuzai exclaimed to himself as he approached the gates to the veritable fortress, though for a ninja of his caliber, it would be easy to infiltrate it. "Halt! Who goes there?" A guard called out, causing Zabuza to come to a stop in front of the gates where two samurai were standing. One of them was the speaker. I am here on behalf of my daimyo bearing an important message from Miraku-sama, Zabuza said, handing over the small missive bearing the seal of the Uzu daimyo. The guard checked the authenticity of the seal before handing it back to Zabuza with a smile and said, Miraku-sama has been expecting you, Zabuza-san. Please follow Yamabuki-san. She will lead you to Miraku-sama. With a nod, Zabuza took the scroll back and walked through the gates only to be met by a courtesan in an expensive kimono. With a nod of greeting, the woman turned and headed back to the castle proper with Zabuza following. They walked in silence for a few minutes before they reached the entrance to a massive chamber. At the doors, the advisor was waiting with an expectant expression. On seeing Zabuza and the Uzu Hittite on his head, the man's eyes nearly popped out as he bowed and greeted, "Welcome to Oni no Kuni, Zabuza-san. I am Kamamura and I am the personal advisor to Miraku-sama. Please follow me. Yamabuki, you may return to your duties." Miraku placed the scroll on the small table beside her and nodded in appreciation to Zabuza. "I thank you for bringing this to my attention. Until recently, I had thought that Naruto Dono was not interested in discussing the contract further. I will be having a room prepared for you, Naruto-sama, and the 2 girls he will be bringing with him. Please enjoy your time here, Zabuza-san. But before you leave with Yamabuki-san, I wish to have a few things clarified." "I am here to serve Miraku-sama," Zabuza said with a smile that was hidden behind the bandages. Miraku looked pleased as she asked, "There are many rumors about Naruto Dono. I wish to know your honest opinion. What do you think of him? I promise that your thoughts will be held in confidence." Zabuza straightened up and with his head held up in pride, said, "It is my greatest honor to serve Naruto-sama. He is a shinobi who hasn't fallen to the age-old truth of take everything you hear with a grain of salt. He easily deduced my reasons for betraying Yagura and then offered me the chance to help Kiri. In return he asked me to help him bring Uzu back to prominence. Which, I am glad to do. He is an honorable man, but powerful and strong-willed. None can make him change his mind if it is the right thing to do. He prefers peace and is working towards it. His greatest hope is to facilitate complete understanding between every country and every man, woman and child. A goal I wholeheartedly throw myself behind. He is the kindest person I have met, but he is also the greatest nightmare of those who are his enemies. He is not as arrogant as people in his shoes become. He is confident in his skills and judgment but isn't against taking advice from everyone around him. A better leader one can't hope to serve in a million lifetimes. He is a beacon of hope, a role model to all shinobi, kunoichi and even the heirs to many of the nations. To summarize, Uzumaki Naruto-sama is a god amongst men. A perfect being. A mortal who has ascended to the realm of the gods." Miraku coughed, stopping Zabuza in his speech of praise. "That will be enough, Zabuza-san. I have got enough from your speech to understand Naruto Dono better. Please follow Yamabuki-san now," Miraku said with a smile as Zabuza nodded before walking out of the chamber to meet up with the imposing woman who lead him in from the gates. After Zabuza left, Miraku chuckled and said to herself, "That's interesting. It seems that young Naruto has a way of earning the loyalty of his retainers without even trying. I am sure that you would be proud of him, Minato Dono." Miraku sat in silent contemplation for a couple of hours before calling out, "Guards! Send a message to Shion-chan that I will meet with her immediately. Have her come to my personal bedchamber." Shion was a beautiful young lady with long platinum blonde hair and pale pink violet eyes. Unfortunately, for all her beauty and grace, she was also a bit hot-tempered and with an air of arrogance. While she would never demean a servant or those of lower rank than her, but she did have a habit of scolding them if they did something she didn't like. Her future advisor and bodyguard Teruo was one of the ones who was particularly targeted. It had been 3 days since her mother had shown her the missive and the old documents from the negotiation she was going through with the Yondaime Hokage. Ever since she learned of her possible betrothal in the near future, she had been in a foul mood. "Shion-sama. We really should be back inside the castle. Miraku-sama will be angry at you again." Teruo pleaded only for Shion to again ignore him. Most of the time, Shino was quite agreeable with all the rules her mother placed on her, but at this moment she wasn't being very compromising. She had snuck out of the castle, against Teruo's protests and without her guards as well. Teruo had been complaining and tiring to get her to change her mind for nearly an hour now, and it was annoying the young priestess beyond her tolerance point. "Shut up, Teruo. Why should I return back to the castle only to get another lecture from my mother? Here she expects me to just accept my being married off to some unknown middle-aged daimyo and I am not even 14 yet. How can you expect me to stay near her at this moment?" Seeing the anger and sadness in Shion's eyes, Teruo decided to keep quiet for the moment. He could understand her a bit. He didn't want to train to become the next head bodyguard and advisor for the next priestess, but here he was following Shion about, trying to form some kind of friendship that would make the situation better. But he wasn't about to say it and direct the young priestess's wrath on him. Deep in thought, Taruo followed Shion into the forests to the east of the castle, towards a small clearing that had a waterfall. He was so distracted by his thoughts that he missed the shadows moving about around them. A scream drew his attention back to the world and saw that they were surrounded by a group of scruffy bandits. One of them had caught hold of Shion's arms and was dragging her away while the others had unsheathed their myriad of weapons and was pointing them at him. "Shion-sama!" Taruo screamed as he unsheathed his sword just as a sword pierced through his chest. As Shion was walking through the forest with Taruo cowardly following her, she was suddenly overcome with a vision. She saw a katana bearing down on her, her face and arms splattered with blood, when an unknown boy with spiky golden hair and cerulean eyes suddenly appeared and was cut down by the offending blade. Just as the vision ended, Shion found herself being pulled by the strong arms deeper into the forest. "Help!" Shion screamed as she was being pulled away and turned her head towards Taruo. "Shion-sama!" Shion watched as Taruo drew his spitha only for a no katana blade to emerge from his chest. The large bandit behind him grinning as he leered at Shion and said, "Hime-sama, you really shouldn't be wandering out here all alone. What if something happened to you like what happened to this poor boy? Please let us escort you to some place safe." Shion stood there with her arms still in the other bandit's arms in shock before it turned to anger. A burst of rainbow-colored chakra burst out of her, completely shredding the arms of the bandit holding her. "Ah!" The bandit screamed as he fell to the ground, cradling the stumps of his arms to his chest. Seeing the state of their fellow bandit, the other bandits charged towards Shion, with the one who had attacked Taruo being the first to reach her. Shion watched in horror and shock, with blood splattering her face, as the sword swung down towards her. Just like in her vision, the spiky blonde-haired boy appeared and took the strike and was cut down, right before the same boy appeared with two girls. One with hair of a vibrant sapphire blue and the other had hair of a deep scarlet red shade. "Karen, take care of the boy. Swear and these pathetic low-lifes," the blonde-haired boy commanded as he easily dispatched the closest bandits. With just a look, the bandits fell to the ground clutching their hearts. The red-haired girl, who Shion realized was Karen, nodded and moved over to Taruo. Cutting her palm, Karen placed the bleeding palm on Taruo's chest and closed her eyes. A deep golden glow surrounded Taruo and the palm before fading as the girl pulled back the palm with a slight stumble. At the same time, the girl who Shion knew to be Swearin stomped on the ground, causing pillars of sapphire crystal to emerge from the ground and with a snap of her fingers, all of them shattered into glittering sapphire dust that she then controlled with motions of her arms, hands, fingers and legs to flow around and kill all the remaining bandits within a span of a few seconds. Shion watched in amazement as the girl, barely as old as herself, was easily able to destroy all of these bandits while another was able to heal Taruo from what looked to be a completely mortal wound within seconds. The most astonishing fact was that the boy seemed to be even more powerful if he was able to take down the closest bandits with just a look. "What do you think, Naruto-sama?" Swearin asked with a bashful expression. Naruto nodded with a smile as Karen looked at the massacre of glittering bodies, all of them killed by the crystal dust they breathed in. Karen commented, "Did you have to rip their innards to shreds, Swearin?" Naruto, as Shion now identified him from what Swearin called him, looked at the bodies and then Taruo before staring into Naruto's cerulean eyes. A small blush appeared on her face right before she collapsed into Naruto's arms in a dead faint. "Wow. She lasted much longer than I expected from a prissy princess. She went down from a sudden absence of adrenaline, guys. No need to worry, but I would like it if we can get this boy to someplace safe." Everyone nodded to Karen's suggestion as a yellow chakra cloak formed around Naruto before two chakra arms reached out of his body and gently clasped the unconscious duo. Without any overt signal, the two girls with him suddenly gained a bubbling red cloak of chakra before all three Shinobi and Kunoichi suddenly vanished into thin air. An orange-haired man was standing on a tall tower overlooking the village that was his domain. The whole village consisted of large metallic towers with hordes of pipes running down their sides. A heavy downpour was a constant in this village, causing most citizens to wear heavy cloaks, large kasa hats and carry umbrellas. Not even the shinobi were spared, as most used a combination of the above-stated clothing combined with rebreathers as a uniform. The orange-haired man had rippling purple eyes and piercings of some kind of black metal all over his face. He was wearing a black cloak with red clouds on it and his spiky hair was swaying in the slight breeze. The man was serenely watching over the village when he sensed a disturbance at the edges of his domain. At the same time, a blue-haired woman wearing a similar cloak appeared beside him with a concerned look. Before the woman could make a comment, the man spoke up, "Get ready, Konan. The Kyuubi is here." "Are you sure, Pain? The amount of chakra I am sensing isn't enough to be that of the Kyuubi." "No, I am sure of it. Uzumaki Naruto is more dangerous than I believed, if he can easily suppress this much of his chakra." "You felt the disturbance. We should have felt him entering Ame far earlier than we did. He was able to do something that I doubt even Sensei would have been able to do. Am I wrong in my assumption Uzumaki Naruto?" Konan jumped at the sudden exclamation as she finally sensed the presence of the infamous Jinchuriki right behind her. Subtly pulling out a piece of paper, Konan prepared to fight, lamenting that a fight of such a magnitude would occur right in the middle of her beloved village. The potential of collateral was immense. Naruto chuckled, "I am not here to fight. Just to talk. I am not even really here. My friends and family wouldn't take kindly to me placing into a possibly hostile situation, no matter how powerful I am, without proper notice." "So you aren't here? That means that the rumors of you having perfected the Ketsueki Banshin are true?" Konan asked in awe. Naruto nodded, causing both Konan and Pain to share a look that conveyed their thoughts to each other. A simple though, why would he reveal his hand? Unless he was confident that we aren't a threat to his person. Pain coughed, drawing Naruto's attention. "What is it you wish to speak of?" Pain narrowed his eyes as Naruto grinned as he casually leaned on the pipe behind him, his arms where both Konan and himself could see. The whole unconcerned air about Naruto put Pain on edge. It reminded him of the Tobi. Even if he was loath to agree, he had to accept that Tobi was someone out of his league. "You know, Nagato, even though you were talking through Yahiko's body like a creepy puppet master, you have a good dream. Peace is something that I also strive for. As for Tobi, or Obito as is his real name, is a coward who hides behind a mask, both figuratively and literally. If you have even an inkling of your heritage, outside those fancy eyes of yours, you would know that with proper preparation, Tobi is as dangerous as a limbless Hidan." "How do you know those names?" Pain asked with a cold tone, causing Naruto to chuckle. "I must tell you, you have done a good job hiding much, but there is no absolute certainty that what you have hidden would remain as such. Time is a great teacher. All is revealed in due time." Pain growled as Konan was now doubting their chances at taking on even this clone of Naruto, not to mention that he knew too much information. "You still haven't answered, Uzumaki. What is it you are here for? No need to be so grouchy. Does prolonged sitting on a stone throne with metal spikes merged with your spine causes you to get a pull up your ass? This isn't how an Uzumaki acts. You aren't acting much like the Uzumaki you are." Pain and Konan were alarmed at the sudden comment. It hit too close to home for Konan, causing the woman to throw the pieces of paper at Naruto only to find the very reins around Ame to come to the yellow-haired Jinchuriki's aid. The paper was encased in sphere of ice which crumbled into snow. At the same time, Konan and Pain found their bodies no longer obeying them. "That's not very nice, you know. I am here to just talk. If I was a threat, you wouldn't have even realized I was here until I had already slit your throats. Anyway, as to why I am here. Oh right, I am here to warn you, Uzumaki Nagato. As kin, I am here to warn you that your journey will not end well. Your dream will not be fulfilled if you keep on the path you are following." "And how would you know that?" Pain growled out in anger. "Because I am one of the few people in the world who has been privileged to get a glimpse into the future. The path you are on will only lead to war, Nagato. If you wish for more information, come seek me out. In 6 months, an official invitation will arrive in Ame for my marriage. I hope you accept it. You are welcome as well, Konan. I am sure Jiraiya would love to see you both alive. Come with your real body, Nagato. I am sure that our cousin, Karen, my best friend Sakura and Tsunade of the Sanin will be able to help you with your physical situation." "How do you know that we won't use the invitation to attack?" Konan asked with a frown. Naruto gave a mirthless chuckle and said, "I don't, but I have faith that there is still a bit of the real Uzumaki Nagato within the shell that is Pain. We Uzumaki don't break our word. We Uzumaki don't let harm befall family and friends if we are able to prevent it. And most of all, we Uzumaki have always followed our hearts, not the whispers of others. The price of betrayal by family is not something we talk about, but the price is greater than death himself. Eternal pain is what awaits a traitor to the Uzumaki." Konan and Pain felt the metaphysical grips on their body release them as they stumbled, but before they could recover, both felt a tap on their foreheads before a massive pain erupted within the core of their minds as images flashed through them. Both crumbled onto the roof, clutching their heads. The images were seen from Naruto's perspective. Images of a devastated Konoha. Image of Naruto fighting and defeating Pain in his 6 paths by himself. Images of the talk Nagato and Naruto had, which finally led to the use of the Geto, Rintense no Jutsu by Pain to revive the dead citizens and shinobi of Konoha. The attack at the Gokage summit by Tobi. The beginnings of the Fourth Great Shinobi War. The arrival of Madara and Tobi on the battlefield with the Geto Mazo that transformed into the Jubi. The arrival of the past Hokages and the devastation that followed. Finally, the image of Naruto trying some kind of jutsu just as the gigantic Bijudama struck the allied shinobi forces and all was engulfed in white light as someone tackled him. As the images faded along with the migraine, Pain and Konan opened their eyes to see that they had been lying on the roof for a few hours now, as the overcast sky was now becoming reddish, signifying that twilight was approaching. Looking around and focusing their attention to the sensory jutsu connected to the falling rains, they realized that Naruto's presence wasn't there anymore. "He is gone, right Nagato?" Konan asked with a shaky tone. Pain was staring at the ground in thought when Konan asked her question, causing him to start. "Huh? Did you say something, Konan?" Konan sighed before saying, "Don't let his words get to you. I doubt the images we saw were real. They must have been a genjutsu of some kind." Pain sighed as he shook his head. "No, it wasn't, Konan. If I am not mistaken, the pain is a signature of the Uzumaki memory transcription seal. It is one of my clan's ways to quickly transfer knowledge of events to others. There are rumors that Naruto has the ability to glimpse into the future. But then again, the jutsu Naruto was trying to use, I don't know why, but for some reason the only thought popping into my mind is the Ninpo, Kako no Yurei. It must be a technique that is deigned to send the memories of the present to the past self. I believe that since I recognized it, it must be a technique created by the Rikudo Sennin. It uses the outer path. At least that much I can recognize. Other than that, I don't understand anything about it, but I would recommend not using it, as the thought of only a single try is pervading my mind." "Are you saying that he is from the future?" Konan asked with incredulity. "I don't know. It may have been a vision of his that he shared. A possibility, but I must think more on this development. We must talk with him to get the whole picture, but I believe that his warning is sound, not to mention the qualities of the Uzumaki he mentioned. I had forgotten all what my parents had taught in my bid to gain peace. Don't let this information leak, Konan. We can't let the others know about the opportunity. He has offered a hand of trust. I won't be a traitor to my kin. If you think that it is worthy, Nagato, I will follow you. About the offer to heal you, do you think it was genuine?" Pain chuckled and said, "I remember my mother saying once that we Uzumaki have been known to break the rules of impossibility more times than we care to count. I am sure that it will be so again." "What about Akatsuki, Nagato? Tobi won't let us walk away, you know this." Pain narrowed his eyes before saying, "I didn't say that we give up our plans, Konan. I will postpone them until we go and meet with Naruto and discuss the prospective probability of the visions coming to pass. Until then, we lie low. Not that difficult with the sudden change in the political climate of the nations and the amount of power Uzumaki Naruto is holding now." Konan nodded before she dissipated into thin sheets of paper and vanished, with Pain turning around and staring out into the horizon. A single thought floating about, what do you wish to gain from this Uzumaki Naruto-sama? The last thing she remembered was seeing a pair of cerulean eyes looking at her with concern and recognition. Sitting up, she looked around to see that she was in her bedchamber in the palace. With confusion, she unclosed her eyes and tried to think of how she ended up here, when she was just moments ago walking at the edge of the forest with Teruo, or was it all just a dream? As she sat there in silence trying to remember, the only thing flashing in her mind were two girls with vibrant sapphire blue and deep scarlet red hair and a blonde-haired boy with the most gorgeous cerulean eyes. The thought of those eyes caused a faint blush to appear on the young Miko's face. As the girl sat there in thought, trying to piece together the set of events that led to her meeting the owner of those cerulean eyes, one of her handmaidens walked into the chamber with a tray containing a bowl of water and a cloth. Seeing Shion sitting in a wake, the woman set the tray on a small table resting beside the doors as she rushed forward with an exclamation of, "Shion-sama! You are awake. Miraku-sama will be so pleased. How are you feeling now?" Shion scrunched up her face in confusion before asking, "How do I find myself here, Mako? The only thing I can remember is Teruo being killed and then 3 shinobi appearing and killing the bandits that had us surrounded." Mako nodded with a reassuring smile and said, "It's a good thing Naruto-sama was passing by on his journey here. He, his cousin and his retainer found you and Teruo-kun. As you remember, they took care of the bandits before escorting you back here. Unfortunately, You had passed out due to a sudden receding of the adrenaline running within your body, or that's what Uzumaki Karen-sama told us. The red-haired girl? Shion asked as the name flashed in her mind. Mako nodded with a smile. That she is. The other girl is the head of the noble Mikeso clan of Uzu, Mikeso Swiren-sama. Shion nodded and motioned for the woman to continue as the woman hesitated. Seeing the hesitation, Shion asked, "And the handsome young shinobi with those beautiful cerulean eyes?" Shion didn't realize her slip, but Mako picked up on the small crush that the young Miko was developing, so with a knowing smile, said, "Shinobi-san is the present daimyo of Uzu no Kuni and your possible future husband, Uzumaki Naruto-sama." Shion's eyes widened in shock at the revelation. The boy who saved her was probably going to become her future husband. The same person she had decided to hate for forcing her into such a difficult position. A position that she was not willing to accept. A decision that she was now in conflict with, especially since she knew that her husband-to-be wasn't that much older than her, probably even younger than her. Seeing Shion sitting there in silence with her inner conflict clearly visible, Mako sighed and said, "If I may, Shion-sama, don't judge someone before you get to know them. Take this as an advice from someone who has lived on this cruel world longer than you. Not everything is as it seems at first light." Shion nodded, and slowly the conflict vanished as Shion came to a decision. Mako smiled and said, "I will have a bath drawn up for you and then have your finest ceremonial kimono ready. Now that that's out of the way, what were you thinking? Going out into the forest with only Teruo? That was very irresponsible of you. Miraku-sama and I didn't raise you like that. You are usually such an obedient child. What caused you to put yourself in danger like that?" "Sorry about that, Mako. I was not thinking straight. I just wanted to get as far away from Hahaue. She hasn't been taking my passive resistance to the thought of my marriage well. She just wishes the best for you. Besides, I know for a fact that the treaty contract has a clause that would keep the treaty active and also let you and Naruto-sama not having to marry, if either of you didn't like each other." Seeing the confused look on Shion's eyes, Mako said, "Miroku-sama had asked my opinion on the marriage part of the treaty. It was my idea. An idea that Naruto-sama's Haha-Yui and Shishi-Yui had completely agreed with." "I see. Anyway, I have decided not to fight Haha-Yui on this issue any longer, but I will still not accept the marriage unless I am sure that it is in my best intentions. Prefect. I will let Miraku-sama know. She will be very proud of you, just as I am. You are growing up into a beautiful and wise young lady. I would have scolded you if you had accepted without thinking of the consequences. Besides, from what I heard from Karen-sama and Swiren-sama, Naruto-sama is a fine young man. He would be a fitting husband for our beautiful and precious young princess. Not to mention pleasant on the eyes as well." Mako teased, causing Shion to blush harder. With a chuckle, Mako stood up and walked out of the room calling out, "I will have the bath ready in 5 minutes. And don't worry about Teruo-kun. He will be just fine. Kurin-sama made sure that he will live to a ripe age, unless he does something stupid and gets killed in the process." Hearing that Teruo was fine, Shion breathed a sigh of relief and prayed to the gods for the good fortune that was shining upon her. As she stood up to head to her private onsen, a thought occurred to her. Until then, all of her visions have come true. Until then, she believed that she had been cursed to see the death of all those around her. For the first time, her vision was proved false. A small seed of doubt was planted. A seed that would sprout into a mighty tree in time. Miraku sat at the balcony looking over the large training ground her guards normally used for training. Instead of the samurai, a different kind of soldiers were training in it. 2 girls, one with deep scarlet hair and the other with vibrant sapphire hair, were battling each other. The scarlet-haired girl had conjured yellow glowing chains and were manipulating them to attack the other girl, while the other girl was attacking with the floating sapphire crystals, the glittering crystal dust and the very earth itself. From time to time, the red-haired girl was launching some kind of technique that Miraku could only call magic, as the girl was pointing her fingers or palms and releasing devastating waves of energy or beams of light that either caused harm or, from what she understood, were sealing techniques. But, the question was, how can someone use Fuinjutsu without proper shiki? Those are sealing techniques I developed with my understanding of the elements and the nature of chakra itself. As an accomplished Fuinjutsu user, I am sure that you can understand that with the proper formula, or shiki to be precise, we can do well nigh anything that takes our fancy. Naruto commented from her side, causing Mirako to nod in agreement. But I question, why would you develop such techniques? Such jutsu could be very dangerous in the wrong hands. I agree with you, but only those of my clan and those approved by both the clan head and the majority of elders of the clan will be allowed access to these techniques. Even amongst my clan, only those showing the potential to be a battle Fuinjutsu master will be allowed to study them, and that's after studying the old battle Fuinjutsu Uzumaki Senjutsu was known for. Miraku nodded, but before she could comment, Naruto jumped off the balcony and landed right in between the two girls and with a grin said, "Great job you two. Karen, you need to focus more on developing your control of Kagura Shingon. It would be extremely valuable during battles. Swear and clear your mind more. Wait and react. If you do so, the very earth will become your ally. It will bring the vibrations of those touching it to you and alert you to potential hostiles. Other than that, both of you have gained great control of your individual abilities. Soon we shall start your training in Ninshu Karen. Prepare, as fire is an element that shouldn't be underestimated and disrespected. It is the element of life, creation and destruction. Misusing it would only lead to destruction. And swear in, you are allowing your cloud of crystal dust to become too thinned out over time. Replace the lost dust as you attack and defend. Learn to split your mind to do both." "Hi Naruto-sama." Swearin screamed from an attention position while Karen just chuckled and said, "As you wish Naruto. So, are we done for the day?" "Yes, you are done. Take a rest and watch the show. I am sure that both of you would love it, especially since you have trained under Zabuza before." A vein throbbed on Karen and Swearin's forehead at the reference to the hell Zabuza called training before a pleased smile graced their lips at the ass-kicking Naruto was about to inflict on the present strongest Jonin of Uzu. Shion had finished bathing and was now clad in an ornate ceremonial kimono with red hakama and white kosode. Her hair was pulled up in a bun with ornate jade chopsticks running through it, holding the hair in place. Finally, a pin with a crystal bell was pinned to the bun. Atabi and Zori were adorning her feet. Thus attired, the young Miko walked onto the balcony overlooking the training grounds with a curious expression on her face. As she reached her mother, without a word, she sat down on the empty seat beside her and turned her face to the battlefield. What she saw caught her by surprise. "Is that all you got, Zabuza? As the Jonin commander of Uzu, I find you liking." Naruto taunted as he easily parried Zabuza's overhead slash and buried the end of his staff in the former Nukenin's stomach. Jumping back, Zabuza growled and channeled his chakra into the blade of his katana, causing a faint blue glow to engulf the blade as Zabuza sheathed the sword in its side and took a standard Dia position. Taking a calming breath, Zabuza unsheathed the katana in a graceful arc, causing the gathered chakra to fly off in a destructive wave. "Now that's more like it," Naruto said as he spurns his bow staff before slamming it into the ground, causing a wall of shadows to erupt and absorb the flying blade of chakra. With a grin, Naruto used the staff as makeshift pole vault and jumped over the wall towards Zabuza, causing the Kenjutsu specialist to chuckle and rush forward to intercept, only to have to jump back when the shadow behind Naruto to erupt in a wave of shadow spikes. With the rush of adrenaline and grace born out of years of practice and experience, Zabuza easily dodged, spurned and parried the spikes as he approached Naruto with his katana taking on a faint blue glow. At the same time, Naruto's staff took on a pale black glow as he charged forward to meet Zabuza head-on. "So?" Hearing her mother's sudden question startled Shion, causing Miraku to chuckle and ask again, "So? What do you think? Is he to your liking?" "That waits to be seen yet, but I will agree that I was too hasty in judging him without even getting to know him or even who my prospective husband would be. I will allow him the chance to win my affections," Shion said with a haughty attitude. "That's good, because I am sure that he will succeed. Now let us keep watching. I will officially introduce you two at lunch, which should be in a couple of hours." Shion nodded as she returned her attention back to the intense spar occurring on the training field. By the time lunch came by, Shion and Miraku were shocked to see that both were still fighting with just as much vigor as they started with. The only difference was the slow increase in their skills and using their individual weapons. Never before had they seen such quick development of skills from the samurai pledged to their family, or even the ninja that they had the privilege of watching train. Otohime was watching what was happening in the training field at the back of the Uzumaki main house while drinking a cup of herbal tea. As she watched the spar, the only thought floating in her mind was that she needed to get better as well. She wouldn't allow her future sister-wife to outshine her. She also decided to ask Naruto to teach her ninju. It was an interesting skill and she was intrigued to learn what element she had. A tentacle of water struck out as another transformed into an icy scythe and tried to impale and bifurcate the Naruto clone she was sparring with. Over the past few days, since the review of her skills, Hinata had been working hard in increasing the fluidity of transforming water into ice and vice versa, just like Naruto had recommended. And her persistence is paying off. Her skills had increased and with them her threat level. Especially with the help from the clones. Hinata was surprised to see the clone pop even as she knew that her strike hadn't touched it yet, causing her to lose her focus. The water she was controlling fell to the grassy ground just as another clone appeared beside Otohime. The clone clapped and said, "Well done, Haim. You just learned to manipulate the water molecules in the air. I can easily think of multiple ways to pull pranks with it. Soon, you'll be giving me a run for my money." Hinata blushed at the praise as Otohime hid the bit of jealousy she felt, but unfortunately, Naruto picked up on it but decided not to comment. He had an inkling about what Otohime was being jealous about and decided to offer her the same chance he gave Hinata. "You know Hisui Haim, if you want, I can teach you Ninshu as well. I am sure that you will need it in the future to keep me in line," Naruto said with a snicker. Otohime blushed as she realized that Naruto had picked up on her jealousy, but nodded in agreement. "I hope you have water as well, Hisui-chan. Then we can debate on techniques," Hinata said as a way of encouragement. "Thanks Hinata-chan, but I doubt I have water, do I Naruto-kun? Who knows? We can test you tomorrow morning. Not at the crack of dawn. If I am woken up by having a bucket of ice water, then there will be hell to pay," Otohime warned with a smile. "I have always been pampered and am not used to waking up earlier than 10 in the morning. Don't worry. I wasn't planning on using that anyway. Mocha Obasama and Buchan would have my hide. Besides, I can already think of several other ways to wake you up. Make sure you do. And it better be pleasurable instead of annoying," Otohime said with a huff, causing Hinata to blush at the hidden meaning behind the words. Naruto nodded and before dissipating in a puff of smoke, he commented, "Oh. It seems that Hinata-chan is becoming sick again like before." Otohime chuckled at Hinata's embarrassment before saying, "You should get over the embarrassment you feel every time Naruto and intimacy is mentioned. Girl, we are going to be married to him soon. Get yourself together." Hinata squealed lightly at the teasing and nearly fainted at the teasing before stuttering out, "It's so difficult sometimes. I have gotten better than before and Naruto-kun has changed me so much, but I still feel nervous at the thoughts of certain situations Hisui-chan." Otohime chuckled and said, "Then I have to coach you. It would be quite unbecoming of you to be embarrassed at such minor things." Sasuke went through the circular motions Naruto and Kakashi had taught him. He separated the yin chakra from the yang within his chakra core and allowed them to crash together creating the lightning, and then like every time before, he tried to direct it out of his fingertips. Like before, the lightning flowed to his fingers before exploding as soon as it left, throwing him back and singing his fingers and hand. "Stop trying to control the lightning. You need to only direct it and let it take the course at once after it escapes your body, Sasuke." A clone of Naruto scolded as Sasuke sat up and got ready again, but before Sasuke could continue, Naruto said, "Lightning is an element that flows like water, but with more force and cannot be forced into a path it doesn't want to follow. Clear your mind and then try. Take a rest and meditate to center yourself and try again." Sasuke didn't comment but just sat down to rest and meditate. He was trying to focus when he felt something rapidly approaching his face. Lying back to allow whatever it was, he suddenly felt a hard knock at the back of his head. Sitting up, Sasuke opened his eyes and glared at Naruto. "What the hell was that for? You need to focus inwards. Not what's happening around you. I was doing just that. Then you would have been hit by the ball of water I threw at you. Try again." Sasuke glared for a moment before ignoring Naruto and trying again. This time, he was able to focus as when Naruto threw a ball of water at him again, he didn't even flinch, causing Naruto to bend the ball away from Sasuke with a satisfied smile. Sai was standing with large pots of water-based ink around him. As Naruto had suggested, he had found a way to combine his ninjutsu with his ninshu. Going through the motions, Sai caused the ink to rise into the air and form complex animals. The same animals he used with his Choj Yugiga, only directly forming in the air and in less time. With a smile, Sai caused the creatures to attack each other in an effort to see how well done they were. The animals proceeded to tear themselves apart and Sai saw that his execution, while acceptable, wasn't up to the standards Danzo had expected of him, or the standards Naruto expected. With that though in mind, Sai continued to practice. "Troublesome blonde." Shikamaru grumbled as he dodged another spike of rock and retaliated with a wave of rising ice spikes. Naruto chuckled and waved his hands, causing a blade of wind to shatter the icicles and fly towards Shikamaru, who waited till the last moment before drawing up a icy shield from the wet ground and was surprised when it was easily shattered, pelting him with shards of ice and a blast of heavy wind throwing him back. Jumping back to his feet, Shikamaru saw Naruto dropping from the sky with a ball of swirling blue chakra in his fist, causing the Nara air to curse and bend the water to carry him away just as Naruto crashed the Rasengan into the ground, causing a massive crater to form. "Oi! You trying to kill me, you troublesome blonde?" "Kill no, grievously hurt, yes," Naruto said with a smile as clapping was heard from the edge of the clearing. Naruto and Shikamaru turned to the source to catch sight of someone that caused Shikamaru to pale. "Ah! Naradono and Nara-san. I hope you like how well Shika is progressing? Keep it up, Naruto-sama. I am sure that my son will learn not be as lazy as this bum sooner or later," Shikamaru's mother said with a grin. "And please, call me by my name, Yoshino. Your mother and I were friends, not as good as she, Hitomi and Mikado were, but friends all the same." "It will be my pleasure, Yoshino-san." "Oi, did I tell you to lie down?" Naruto exclaimed and stomped the ground, causing a wave of mud to throw Shikamaru upright as the boy grumbled. "Up your resistance seals by 1 level and get to jogging. 10 laps around the training ground." Shikamaru glared at Naruto, mumbling about troublesome slave-driving blondes as he raised his resistance seal 1 level before heading off to start his jog. After they were sure that Shikamaru was gone, Shikaku said, "There is a meeting this evening about you-know-what. All Jonin, active and retired, are being called. I hope you already have the plans ready. Don't worry about it, Nara. Just be ready for a long night, because I want to make sure that there aren't any loopholes. One mistake and the consequences can be disastrous, especially with the number of foreign Kage coming this time." Shikaku nodded, "Then I will have lots of cups of coffee ready. See you later." Naruto nodded as Shikaku and Yoshino left in puffs of smoke. A team of Anbu were nearby, throwing earth and tiles into the air where they spontaneously combusted. The Anbu watched in awe as Konohamaru kept training his newly discovered combustion bending under the supervision of Naruto and the Sun Daime Hokage. Again and faster, Naruto commanded, causing the Anbu to throw the tiles, and again in rapid succession, Konohamaru shot them down with little effort. "It seems that he is reaching his limit, doesn't he? That's right, Gigi. After this round is over, it would be best if he rested for the rest of the day." The amount of focus needed and the strain on his mind is astronomical, but the amount of dedication he is showing will allow him to master combustion bending within maybe a couple of years. I think that with proper focus, we can combust things hidden out of our sight as well. That's a very dangerous ability in the hand of the wrong people, the Sun Daime commented. Naruto nodded and said, "I don't plan on telling that to anyone else, and I warned Konohamaru not to as well. Other combustion benders may appear in the future, but it is best that they don't know the full capabilities." Hiruzen nodded as Konohamaru finished this round of shooting down tiles with combustion bending and sat down on the ground with sweat running down his face and neck, panting heavily. "Well done, Konohamaru. You are getting better at focusing and rapidly changing your focus. Take the rest of the day off. Go home, get cleaned up and take a nap. You need to rest your mind." "Sure thing, boss," Konohamaru said as he stood up, but before he could leave, Naruto said, "Come by this evening for your Fuinjutsu classes. I know that the beginning sections are boring, but I expect you to become at least an intermediate in Fuinjutsu by my clan standards by the time you make Jonin." Konohamaru nodded before disappearing in a swirl of flames. After he left, Naruto dismissed the Anbu and turned to Hiruzen and asked, "Why are you really here, Gigi? You prefer to take care of the paperwork yourself, instead of letting clones do all of it." "I came to see my grandson being trained by my successor." Naruto didn't look amused, causing Sarutobi to sigh and say, "I am worried about Anaki's sudden acceptance of the invitation to the Chunin exams. I fear that he is in league with Orochimaru." "I doubt it. Anaki may be a bitter old man, but he hasn't gone senile yet. The fear of my retaliation will stay their hands." "I hope you are right, Naruto, but I would prefer that you prepare contingencies." Naruto nodded to appease the aged Sun Daime before dissipating in a cloud of smoke. Miraku sat down on the cushion with a cup of tea in her hand and Shion beside her. Both wearing the traditional dress of a Miko, only of a more formal design. Across from them sat Naruto and Karen. Karen and Naruto had unsealed a bottle of herbal tea that Sakura had forced the two to drink. "What is so special about that tea you are drinking, Naruto-sama, Uzumaki-san?" Shion asked with a tilt of her head. Karen chuckled and spoke, "It is a medicinal blend created by Haruno Sakura. She is Naruto-kun's oldest friend and the top-rated active Urion in Konoha. She rivals our cousin Senjutsu Nade in skills." Miraku placed the cup of tea on the table in between them and asked, "Why would you need a medicinal blend? Both of you are so young." Karen and Naruto chuckled before Naruto said, "Both of us are of the royal line." While Uzumaki in general have denser chakra and larger reserves than most, the royal line manifests some special abilities that require greater levels of chakra. While I already have immense levels, I haven't manifested any of them, but Karen Chen here has. She has manifested all three abilities. The blend helps our bodies quickly gain physical maturity and physical peak. We keep to Sakura's prescribed blends at the moment to gain the maximum effect. In fact, even Swearin and the other young shinobi hopefuls of Uzu are drinking it. It is also a good blend to combat malnutrition, Karen said with a sad smile. Miraku nodded in understanding while Shion looked confused and asked, "Why would you suffer from malnutrition, Naruto-sama? You are a daimyo." Miraku looked aghast at the question, and was internally angry that Shion would not have read the briefing scroll she had sent her, but decided to wait and see how Naruto reacted. Naruto chuckled, causing Miraku to look surprised. "You may not know this, but I grew up on the streets until recently. The Sundaime decided to protect me from my parents' enemies by completely hiding me and my heritage. Until I showcased my overwhelming power, I was considered an outcast and the Bija sealed within me." "What do you mean, Naruto-sama? You are the prison of one of the 9 great demons?" Shion asked, aghast at the information, unable to understand how that could happen. "That's right, but calling them demons aren't very accurate. They are masses of sentient chakra and forces of nature created by the Rikudo Sennin when he separated the demonic god Jubi into 9 individual beings before his death. Those of us who have the Bija sealed within them are called Jinchuriki, and the first Jinchuriki was the Rikudo Sennin himself. He was the prison of the Jubi." Shion nodded at the revelation before asking, "Aren't you afraid of suddenly being controlled by the beast within you, if the seal weakens?" "What seal? I had opened the seal a long time ago. As I said, the Bijou aren't malicious demons. They are just misunderstood. Kurama, the Kyuubi, is a good friend and a good advisor. His millennia of experience and wisdom is invaluable. He only stays within the open seal because if he leaves, there is a probability that I would die. He is one of the most trustworthy friends I have," Naruto said with passion, causing Shion to blush a bit. Naruto didn't notice it, but Karen did and planned to tease the girl when she had a chance. "That's interesting, Naruto Dono. Are all Jinchuriki like you and Kurama, was it?" "Not really. Only we, Kirabai and the Hichibi, Yuki, and Niyugito and the Nibi, Mutatabi are in good relations with each other. Though Yugito and Mutatabi tend to quarrel a lot." "That's interesting. I didn't know it was possible to befriend the Bijou," Miraku said with a frown. "It is, we just have to get through the centuries of hate they develop because of the action of humans and gain their respect. We had to work very hard to be able to help dissipate the darkness from their hearts. Now, we can work together by synchronizing our powers, though we had to conquer our own darkness before being able to safely channel their power. While their darkness has been removed, the dark taint of Jubi still remains. That is a darkness no one can overcome. If we allow the Jubi's darkness to overcome us, we lose ourselves to the madness and tend to kill anything and everything in sight. Luckily, I am one of the 3 who has no fear of that happening." "Because you have overcome your own darkness?" Miraku asked with intrigue. "That's right. Besides, Karen here has the ability to restrain Bijou and so even Jinchuriki. With a bit of training, she will be able to single-handedly hold back all 9 Bijou like Senju Hashirama could do with his Makuten." Karen blushed at the praise. "What is her power that will allow her to restrain Bijou?" Shion asked with interest. "I am sure your mother remembers the chakra chains Karen manifested during her spar with Swearin." Miraku nodded in agreement. "It is a special technique only a few in the royal line manifests, my mother being one of them. The solid chakra chains, we call the technique Kongo Fusa." "The adamantine sealing chains?" Shion asked in awe. Naruto nodded before continuing, "That's right. Karen still has a way to go before she has completely manifested the finished technique, but she is getting there. We can channel Fuinjutsu techniques through the chains. I am sure that you can understand the implication?" Shion nodded with wide eyes. "That's incredible. A single touch from the chains and a complex seal can be applied to the target. Truly, the Uzumaki clan are the leaders in Fuinjutsu. And here I thought that my family was skilled in Fuinjutsu." "We are getting off topic," Miraku said with a smile. "We met here to discuss the treaty that Namikaze Dono and I were discussing before his unfortunate demise." "Right. We can get better acquainted later. Now I have read through the treaty and have discussed it with my clan elders, my advisors and Kurama as well, and have decided that the treaty is sound and requires no changes. I am willing to sign it right here with Karen and Zabuza as the Uzumaki witnesses. The only thing I wish to discuss is the betrothal section." Miraku nodded in understanding while Shion frowned at the mention of the treaty and her betrothal. "What is it you wish to discuss? I thought it was perfectly clear?" Miraku asked with a slight narrowing of her eyes. "It is. That's why I am here. Originally, me and Shion were supposed to have met from time to time when we were children. That obviously never happened, so I don't know anything about her and vice versa. Luckily the section is optional, but recommended. My father wished to solidify the alliance with a marriage, though both him and you had left the provision of letting us choose to be married or not," Naruto said, causing Shion to look up startled at the information. If she wanted, she could choose not to marry him. "That's right. Are you here to say that you do not wish to marry my daughter?" Miraku asked with a slightly cold tone of a woman thinking that her daughter was being slighted. "Not at all. My parents wanted the marriage, and I would abide by their will as long as Shion is in agreement. It is only up to Shion to finalize the decision," Naruto said, causing Miraku to smile as Naruto turned to Shion and said, "I would advise you to think deeply about it, Shion. I am under the Clan Restoration Act and am forced to take multiple women as my wives, 2 of whom has already been selected." Shion thought for a few moments before saying, "I was quite against the marriage at first. I only knew that a young daimyo was to be my future husband. I had expected someone much older, probably in their late 20s early 30s. To find that you are roughly my age is quite pleasant, but I would like some time to decide whether I will marry you or not. Instead, I would like to get to know you a bit better before I make my decision. I would also like to meet your other fiancé before deciding. Is that all right with you?" "That's more than all right. I would have suggested it myself, if you had accepted without more thought." "That's good, Naruto Dono, but I have to ask, you are very busy, so why did you come here yourself and not send a messenger?" Miraku asked with a smile. "There is another thing I wish to discuss. My sensei, the Ogama Sennin, Gamamaru, has extremely strong clairvoyant abilities. Much like your and your daughter's own clairvoyant abilities, though he can focus it to search through multiple possibilities. Sensei's powers come from his connection to nature itself, and recently, as my connection to nature grown, I have started having visions as well. Uncontrolled as they are still useful. In time, I expect to become as skilled in far-seeing as Sensei is." He saw a possibility of Shion learning under us and becoming a formidable farseer in her own right. "I came here personally to offer our aid in teaching her. Even if she decides to decline the marriage, the offer to teach her still stands. Sensei doesn't do anything without reason, even if it is not apparent to anyone other than himself. So him asking me to take this offer to you was shocking. I hope that both of you would consider the offer." Shion and Miraku were shocked at the revelation. After a few moments of quiet silence, Shion spoke up, "But I only see my own death and those around me." "That's because you aren't trained enough yet, dear. I can see approaching events when I focus enough, though only a single event, not a collection of possible events, like you said, Naruto Dono." Shion nodded in understanding as Naruto explained, "To nature, time is irrelevant. Echoes of events that could have happened or can happen, are always felt by those who are connected to nature. Gamamaru Sensei and I are interested to see if we can help Shion gain the knowledge to tap into this immense lake of events and witness possibilities without being as connected to nature as we are." Miraku nodded before commenting, "So let me guess, you are here to escort her back to Konoha, if she accepts this apprenticeship, even if she declines the marriage?" Naruto nodded, causing Miraku to sigh and say, "I must confess, I have already seen Shion training under you, so I had believed that Shion had accepted the marriage. I didn't think of a possible apprenticeship to be the cause as well. And here I got my hopes up, as the only other vision I saw was Shion dying alone at a young age, murdered by cultists of Morio. That's a vision I have gotten as well, but I also saw her alive as well while I am fighting a released draconic demon who I believe is Morio. I had gone to Sensei with this vision and he meditated on it before telling me that the first Shion who died was a bodyguard of her who had used a forbidden technique to permanently transform into her. So, as you can see, the visions aren't absolute. We are interested in helping Shion reach levels in clairvoyance that only the great sages exhibit. You have given us much to think about, Naruto Dono. From my Vaisen, I have seen you leaving the day after tomorrow for Kumo. May we give you the answer tomorrow evening? I already know the answer, but you can confirm it tomorrow at dinner, if you wish, Naruto said with a mischievous grin right before Karen said, "Naruto, my Ketsueki Bunshine contacted me. It seems that we need to head to Uzumaki on the way to Kumo. It seems that the basic rebuilding of the village is done, but no one can access many parts of the village and no one dares to approach the palace because of the blood seals. Why do we need to head there? I will send a Ketsueki Bunshine there, Karen. Oh right. I completely forgot. Turning back to Miraku and Shion, Naruto said, a good night to you both. It seems that I have to create another Ketsueki Bunshine, and it takes time to prepare the jutsu, so if you will excuse me. Of course Naruto Dono. We will see you in the morning. Come Shion, we must discuss much in private. As Miraku stood up to leave, Shion followed, and before leaving the girl bowed to Naruto and wishing him and Karen a good night, straightened up and left. Naruto and Karen following their example, and left for their assigned quarters. Shion, don't cause problems for Naruto Dono and his group, Miraku said with a teasing smile. What do you think I will do, haha Yui? Shion asked with a scowl. Let me see. Escaping your guard. Throwing tantrums when you don't get what you want. Running your mouth before thinking of the consequences. Shall I go on? Shion blushed in humiliation as Naruto chuckled and said, I doubt that she can hide her presence from me or Karen, and getting out of our range before we discover her missing is a moot point, as Karen can sense up to 10 miles out while I can sense up to 100. No shinobi can cover that much distance before they are discovered, let alone a civilian. Shion pouted at the discussion before saying, do you really think I will do that again? Everyone turned to the girl and said in a monotone, yes. I was angry with haha Yui. Shion growled out, causing Karen to say, then we need to make sure that we don't anger you. We don't need any more deadly disappearing acts. While Karen said that with a teasing grin, the underlying reminder was still there. It was her actions that had led to Teruo and herself nearly losing their lives. If Naruto, Karen and Swearin didn't appear in time, she didn't want to think what could have happened. Cheer up. I am sure that you would like to see the world after being cooped up in the temple complex and the palace for all of your life, Shion. Swearin said with a cheerful grin before she focused her concentration and created a crystal brooch in the shape of Tartarian aster flower in violet and yellow coloration. And a gift for you. If you feel you are in danger, just channel a bit of chakra into it and I will be alerted. Shion took the small offered brooch with a smile and said, thank you. It is beautiful. May I ask how it will alert you, if I channel my chakra into it? It is created by me and has a bit of my own life force within it. That link will alert me. Shion, may I have the brooch for a moment? Naruto asked with a smile. Sure, but why? Shion asked with confusion as she handed the crystal brooch to Naruto. Naruto just smiled and said, I am just adding a Hiraishin beacon seal to it. If you channel chakra into it, I will be alerted and can teleport to you in a blink of an eye. Shion blushed at the implications as she took back the brooch and placed it on her kimono before turning to both and said, I will treasure this gift always. It is the first time someone has given me a gift with the thought of my safety in mind. Alright, all of you. I will summon a toad to ride on until we reach the border outpost between Kusa no Kuni and Hai no Kuni. We will stay the night there before heading off again. Kushios, Gamanatsu, Naruto exclaimed as he summoned a large blue-green toad with very streamlined body. Yo, Naruto-sama. Where to? Hey Natsu, we need to head to the border outpost between Kusa and Hai. I want you to pass through Mori no Kuni, into Tatsuchi no Kuni and then turn back to Kusa and finally Hai. Avoiding Ame is imperative. Can you get us there by nightfall? Nightfall? Who do you take me for, Gamafuyu? I will make it by late afternoon. Hop on everyone, Gamanatsu said with pride. Naruto just chuckled as he picked up Shion and jumped up onto Gamanatsu's head with Karen, Swearin and Zabuza following his example. Placing Shion upright on her feet, Naruto nodded to Swearin and Karen, causing the girls to move to stand beside the girl and place their arms around her waist to hold her in place. Alright everyone, use your chakra to hold on tight, or I won't be responsible if you fly off. Shion looked startled at the information but realized that Swearin and Karen were holding her as she couldn't do that. Naruto turned to Miraku and said, I hope to see you in Konoha for the Chunin exams finals, Miraku Dono. I will be there, Naruto Dono. Don't worry about it. Good. Alright Natsu, let's get going. Alright then. Hold on for your lives, it's going to be a bumpy ride, Natsu exclaimed right before leaping high into the sky. All Miraku heard was the whistling of the wind and the screams of Shion, Swearin, and Karen. A squad of Iwa shinobi were patrolling the border between Tsuchi and Ame when they saw a gigantic blue-green toad leaping towards them. Three panicked and prepared to strike at the toad, but their leader stopped them before they could start an international incident. With a pale face, the leader said, Don't be foolish. The toad is a carrier. It is carrying people somewhere. Besides, it isn't headed towards Iwa. The path is curving towards Kusa. And do you even know who summons toads? Everyone knows that, Deiko. Jiraiya of the Sannin and Uzumaki. Naruto. The man trailed in realization and paled in fear when he caught the blonde hair of the shinobi standing on top of the toad. Behind him were three girls, and finally behind them, the man recognized Zabuza. Uzumaki, Naruto and Momochi Zabuza are on it. The other three paled in fear, and quickly all four scrambled to hide before they were spotted. They had just barely hidden themselves when the toad flew above them. A faint voice belonging to a young boy was heard saying, "You need to reread the bingo book, boys. I knew you were there before you noticed us." Two of them fainted in shock while the third asked the captain, "Danko, do you have a new bingo book on you?" "Yeah," he said, handing it to the other man, and waited for him to read it. After a few moments, the man fainted in shock. Fear clearly exhibited on his face. The captain sighed and picked up the book and read the entry before he too fell unconscious with only a single thought. Naruto felt them preparing to strike out at him before he stopped his men. "I can see Natsu moving towards Kumo, Jiraiya. Do you want me to join up with him? I would like that for you. It seems that he is in a great hurry. We need to see why." "As you wish, Jiraiya," Fuyu said as he quickened his pace to intercept the Gamonatsu before he moved too far away. "Jiraiya, Fuyu. Get out of the way. I need to reach Kumo by nightfall," Natsu exclaimed as Fuyu and Jiraiya reached the place Natsu had landed. "Wait up, Natsu. I am sure you can still make it to Kumo by nightfall, even if we take a bit of time to catch up with Fuyu and Jiraiya," Naruto said as he jumped off Natsu's head and landed right beside Jiraiya on Fuyu's head. "What's the hurry, Naruto?" "From the looks on the girls' faces, they don't look like they enjoyed the ride," Jiraiya said with a grin. "You both are crazy. How the hell can anyone enjoy such a wild ride?" Karen exclaimed in anger, her face flushed red, giving her the appearance of a tomato. Seeing her like that reminded Jiraiya of Kushina right before he was clobbered, so he decided to hold back the retort he was about to make and turn to Zabuza. "What about you, Zabuza?" "Not as pleasing as I expected, but as a shinobi, I will endure it for my mission. Though I worry about the condition Shion is in. Her stomach doesn't look like it is agreeing with her tough exterior," Zabuza said with a nod at the Miko in training, who was holding her mouth, trying not to barf. "I completely forgot that. Sorry, Shion, I should have thought of that. But you should have told me. I would have applied a seal to counteract the gravitational effects," Naruto said as he jumped back onto Natsu's head and placed a hand on Shion's forehead before retracting it. A small Uzumaki swirl formed on her forehead before branching out all over her face and down her neck. Most assumed that it was also extending all across her body, hidden behind her clothes. "So Naruto, what's the rush?" "Nothing. I just wish to head to Kumo to discuss the treaty with Uzu they're offering. I didn't feel like leaving it hanging for after the Chunin exams. The treaty may come in handy, as you know. Anyway, Jiraiya, this is Shion. The daughter of Miraku Dono and heiress to the throne of Oni no Kuni. She is the one Gamamaru-sensei was speaking of." "Alright. I believe Minato was in talks with Miraku-sama about a treaty and a possible marriage contract. Nice to meet you, Shion. Let me tell you. It is a pleasure to meet you. Likewise, Gama-sanin. There are rumors that you are Naruto-sama's Kyofu. Is it true?" "Very true, though to protect him, I had to abscond from his life until recently. Naruto, you should warn him while you are at Kumo. He should bring his brother with his regular guards. Manda and a few of his fanatic followers have decided to become contracted to Orochimaru. The Snake Summons has exiled them, but like all rogues, they will still cause problems. Thanks for the info, Jiraiya. We need to get moving now. How long will you stay in Konoha?" "About a week before leaving again. I will be back by the time the second phase of the Chunin exams end." "Hey Naruto-kun, what about our seals?" Karen asked with a pout, trying to convince Naruto with her cuteness. "Very cute, Itoko, but you will have to try harder. Besides, you are a shinobi. The life of a shinobi is about endurance. It is your duty to endure for the sake of the mission and the good of your country and allies. Suck it up and endure," Jiraiya exclaimed with Naruto and Zabuza nodding in agreement. "Oh well, can't blame a girl for trying," Karen said with a chuckle as she caught hold of Shion's waist again with swear and doing the same as Jiraiya jumped back to stand atop Gamafuyu's head. "See you later, Naruto, everyone," Jiraiya said as everyone nodded in farewell before Jiraiya turned back to Fuyu and said, "Alright Fuyu. Let's get going. I will see you back home, Natsu. We should have a race to see who is the fastest now." "I have been training, bro," Fuyu said as he jumped on towards Konoha. Natsu just chuckled and said, "Hold on tight, because here I go." With that, Shion Karen and Swearin screamed again as Natsu went flying high into the sky with a great leap, destination being Kumo. Can you please repeat that, Patrol Unit 23? I am not sure I heard you right. Over. The kunoichi sitting in front of the long-range radio asked with shock. Repeating command. Patrol Unit 7 relayed message from Patrol Unit 2. Uzumaki, Naruto and 4 others are headed towards Kumo riding a large blue-green toad with a streamlined body structure. ETA 3 hours. Over. The voice of a man said over the radio. The kunoichi quickly wrote down the message and pressed the answer button. Got that, Patrol Unit 7. You may return back to your duties. Over. As you wish, command. Over and out. The man said before cutting the connection. The woman slumped into her seat for a few moments before straightening up and called out, "You, rookie. Take over for me. I need to meet Raikage-sama immediately." The rookie looked startled as his commanding officer rushed out of the room without a second glance with a note in her hand. The commander of the communications department rushed through the building to the Raikage's office at the top of the building. As the woman approached the Raikage's office, his secretary Mabui stood up and said, "The Raikage is in a meeting at the moment. You will have to wait an hour before you can meet him." "Can it, Mabui? I have a message that need to be given to Raikage-sama immediately." Mabui narrowed her eyes at her old classmate. Neither got along well, but Mabui knew that she wasn't someone to blow something out of proportions. "It better not be something mundane, Kagami, or it will be your head," Mabui said as she walked out from behind her desk and approached the door. Opening the door, Mabui poked her head in for a few moments before retracting it and motioned for Kagami to enter. Kagari nodded to Mabui and entered the office and saw that the Raikage was sitting behind his desk with Shi, Daru, Kirabai, Yugi Ito, and Team Kirabai sitting in front of his desk or standing around the office. "What is the meaning of this interruption, Kagari? What message could be so important that it couldn't wait another hour?" he asked with a glower. Kagari gulped before she straightened her back and walked up to the desk and handed him the note. He raised an eyebrow before reading the message. Placing the message on the desk, he nodded to Kagari and dismissed her with a wave of his arm. Kagari bowed and walked back to the door, intent on leaving before she angered her short-tempered cage. Just before Kagari left the room, she heard Kirabai, Yugi Ito and Shi gasp before saying, "QB is close." "How close, Shi?" he asked with a frown. The message said that they were roughly 3 hours away. "They seem to be approaching at civilian speeds, so I would say about 10 minutes. B. Yugi Ito. You two go and await his arrival. I believe that he is here to discuss the treaty and the marriage proposal. Better yet, all of us will go. Daru, Shi, alert everyone. Naruto Dono and his group are to be shown the utmost respect. Anyone who so much as glares at them is to be imprisoned. Spread the word." "Hi Raikage-sama," she said while Daru just nodded as both vanished in puffs of smoke. "Yugi Ito, Samui, you two be especially pleasant. Both of you have a reputation of insulting and demeaning any suitor. We cannot afford to alienate him. If we do, then my plans to forge a lasting alliance treaty with Uzu and through them Konoha will go up in smoke. No need to worry, while you have Kirabai. And you keep your rapping to a minimum. In fact, don't speak at all unless necessary." He growled out as a vein throbbed on his forehead. "Now, Karu Amoi. You two along with Samui will be their guides while in Kumo. Make sure to behave in a manner befitting Shinon of Kumo." "Hi Raikage-sama," Kuro said with a bow. "As you wish, Raikage-sama. Besides, if we don't, we may inadvertently anger Uzumaki-sama, that will lead to a declaration of war between Uzu and Kumo. The war will then draw in our enemies to side with Uzu. In the end, Kumo will be destroyed." Kuro would have stopped him but decided not to, as that kind of behavior before her cage was unacceptable to her. "Amoi. Please give your mind some rest and stop overthinking things. Now let's go," he said with a sigh as he stood up and headed towards the door to his office. Mabui looked surprised at the Raikage suddenly using the door to exit. "Come on Mabui. We need to go greet Naruto Dono and his entourage at the gates. Daru and Shi should have already spread the news in my orders. And make sure to remind me that Kagari is due a bonus." "Ah. All right Raikage-sama," Mabui said with a blink of her eyes. She was completely surprised at both the news and the Raikage's sudden use of the door, even though he was quite excited. "Kaminari no Kuni is quite beautiful," Shion exclaimed as she looked around her, staring at the large number of mountains and hills surrounding the path they were following. The path itself was carved out of the face of sheer cliffs. "I will say, I used to think that Nami was beautiful before Gato took over. This is truly a beautiful place. The sunrises and sunsets would be very beautiful to watch," Swearin said with a smile. Yakuza was such a drab place. Long grass, as high as men are tall. I used to feel like an overgrown ant. Now witnessing these mountains make me feel like my existence has no meaning to the greater world. And you said that the trees around Konoha made you feel small, Karen-chan, Swearen said with a teasing tone. Quiet. I believe we aren't alone any longer, Zabuza said as he looked up towards the bluffs above their heads. The Swearen and Shion looked up with Zabuza, but Karen frowned before focusing her mind to search for the presences. After a few moments she said, that can't be right. I can't feel any presence from them, yet we don't seem to be under a genjutsu. You would have picked up on the barrier, if you had split your concentration, Karen. I see that you need to train your sensory perception more. That will be remedied when we return to Konoha. As for the presence, there are none and we aren't in a standard genjutsu. The barrier is designed to create a feeling of being watched. A beautiful use of a genjutsu seal. Kumo was also alerted to our presence when we passed the barrier. We are going to reach the gates soon. A genjutsu seal? I thought that they were highly unstable and has no way of keying someone into the barriers the seal creates, thereby affecting allies and enemies equally. That they do. But this is the route for visitors. You don't think they would use the same road for their shinobi, do you? Naruto said as they finally came in sight of the gates. Karen shuddered as the feeling suddenly vanished and she could feel the barrier they passed through. I see what you mean. That was an unpleasant experience. It was meant to be, Karen. That is the first line of defense. A good one as well. Ibiki would love it, Naruto said, causing Zabuza to chuckle and say, that sadist would love anything that plays around with the mind. I see that your knowledge of seal has increased since we last met, Naruto Dono. You are right in that the defense is a genjutsu seal, but may I ask how you know of the secret path? It is only logical that there would be a second path used by the shinobi. Besides, I can sense the shinobi traffic a couple of 100 feet to the southwest of here. Damn presence suppression barriers. They just don't work as well as I hoped. You are really good. Welcome to Kumo. It is a pleasure to be here, Idono. This young lady is Shion, the princess of Oni no Kuni. The blue-haired young lady is Mikeso Swearen, head of the noble Mikeso clan of Uzu and a student of mine. The other young lady, the one with red hair and eyes, is my cousin and the heiress presumptive to the throne of Uzu, Uzumaki Karen. I am sure that Zabuza over there need no introduction. Indeed not. The Kirigakure no Kijin, though I believe that everyone is starting to call you the Uzu no Kijin. Welcome to Kumo. Please keep your sword sealed while in the village. As to you ladies, I welcome you to Kumo and wish you all a pleasant stay. Zabuza nodded while Shion spoke up for the girls. Thank you for your kind words, Reikage-sama. I speak for all three of us when I say that it is nice to be here and that your village is most spectacular. Nodded with a smile before saying, this is my brother and Jinchuriki of the Hichibi, Kirabai. Yo, nice to meet you, yo, Kirabai said, causing everyone but Naruto to sweat drop at the horrible rap. Nice to meet you as well, Kirabai, Naruto said as he raised his fist to Kirabai, surprising everyone there. Kirabai just smiled and knocked fists with him for a moment before frowning. Are you sure, 9? Very 8. What's going on? He asked with a frown. Something between us, Jinchuriki and our bijou. We will tell you later, when there are less chances of us being overheard, Naruto said with B nodding in agreement, causing E to reluctantly agree. This is Niyugito, my niece in the Jinchuriki of the Nibi. Nice to meet you, Naruto-sama, Yugito said with a slight bow when Naruto raised his fist to her as well. At first she hesitated, suspicious of the raised fist, but decided that it was a harmless gesture and bumped her fist with his. It was a life-changing event for her. Yugito stumbled, causing Naruto and Kirabai to catch her before she fell. She looked up with wide eyes, shock clearly visible in her eyes. You alright, Yugito? He asked with surprise. Yugito was not someone to be affected like that. What really happened between Jinchuriki when they fist bumped? Yugito straightened up as she schooled her features and said, I will be alright, Reikage-sama. The transfer of memories and thoughts between us just took me by surprise. Why didn't you ever use this method, B? Because I didn't know of it until now. It is a ninja technique that can be learned by anyone. A very fast way to transfer knowledge of events and communicate. No chance of lying as well, Naruto said with a chuckle. Besides, we Jinchuriki can use it instinctively because that's how we really communicate with our bijou. Everyone nodded to what Naruto said before he continued, this is my secretary, Mabue. It is an honor to meet you, Naruto-sama, Mabue said with a bow. Naruto just nodded with a smile in acknowledgement. The young blonde is my niece, Nisamui. The red-haired girl with a dark complexion is Kuro. The boy sucking on a lollipop is Amoe. Together they are the Jonin team of Kirabai, and from time to time, Yugito steps in as intermediate Jonin sensei. All three bowed to Naruto, and as one said, "Welcome to Kumo, Naruto-sama and friends. We hope that you have a pleasant stay with us." Naruto nodded to the group and said, "Thank you. Are you three taking the Chunin exams this time at Konoha?" Before the three surprised Jonin could answer, he said, "That's right. They are the best we have. With them, we are going to be sending 3 more teams, though I expect at least one of them to make it to the finals." The three Jonin blushed at the praise from their cage as Naruto said, "That's good, because I have a warning for them. All 3 of you, I can sense more than adequate chakra reserves, and by the flow of the chakra in your coils, I would say that you are very skilled. Don't underestimate the rookies from Konoha. I have personally trained each and every one of them, and one is my apprentice. Sarutobi Konohamaru is only 10, but if any of you face him, go all out or be humiliated. For a shinobi, nothing is as it seems." He chuckled and said, "Wise words, Naruto Dono. Heed his words, you three. Now, while you are in Kumo, Koronamoe will be your guides. If you need anything, just ask one of them. We will be sure to do as asked, Dono. Now, I am sure that you all traveled a long distance, so these 2 will escort you to the quarters we have prepared for your arrival. I am sure you remember them, but I will introduce them again. These are Daru and Shi. 2 of the best Jonin Kumo has and my personal bodyguards. Good to see you again, Daru, Shi. Hope you haven't had major problems on your missions lately." "Not at all, Naruto-sama," she said with a smile. "But it seems that you have been solving one after another." Naruto-sama?" Daru said with a laid-back grin. "That I have. Good night to all of you. Dono, I would like an audience with you first thing in the morning. There is much we need to discuss. Yugito-san and Samui-san should be present, as well as B. Of course, Naruto Dono. Have a restful night," he said before Team Kirabai, Mabuya and Kirabai left using Sunshine. "If you would please follow us," Daru said as he waited for Naruto to give him permission. Naruto nodded, causing Daru to turn and walk towards the hotel where important dignitaries and their entourage were usually housed in Kumo. That's it for this video. I hope you all enjoyed the video. Don't forget to like the video, subscribe to the channel, and follow me on my other social media accounts. Anime God here, and I'm signing off.